Metal-heads.de.
Hallo Metalheads, schön, dass ihr eingeschaltet habt zu einer neuen Folge. Ich sitze hier mit Tim von Soil und ich werde ihm nun ein paar Fragen über seine Band stellen. So Tim, Soil was first a side project because the core of the band played in different death metal bands. Is it right or wrong?
Yes, that's right. Me and Adam and our original drummer were from a band called Oppressor, and our old guitar player was from a band called Broken Hope, all relatively well-known death metal bands for the scene, and we were just kind of wanting to get back to our roots and try something out different, and Soil was born, and now almost 20 years later, here we still are.
What was for you the reason to play another kind or a different kind of metal except death metal?
The death metal scene, it was fun, and when we were younger, we had a lot of aggression and anger and things like that, like any youth, to get out, and it was just fun music to play, and we really liked the vocals and the drumming and guitar, but we grew up on things like Ozzy Osbourne and early Metallica and like Black Sabbath and stuff like that, so we just want to have a little bit of fun and play something different. And back then, in the 90s, the scene was so, you have to be the heaviest or the fastest, and if you don't like this band, then you're not in the clique, and this and that, and it was such a small scene, and everybody was just so competitive. We just kind of wanted to branch out and do something a little bit to do something different, and Soil came about, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we never really stopped. It kind of took over the other bands,
Cool. Clive Davis, who signed your band on J Records, stated once, "You're gonna be my only rock band for now. You are going to be a priority, and I want to break this band." Is it right or wrong?
That's right. Been doing some good homework there.
In retrospect, after all these years, what do you think about his words?
I mean, if it wasn't for J Records and Clive Davis, I mean, me and you wouldn't be sitting here right now. They really put a lot of time and effort and a lot of money into our Scars and Redefine records to get us over to Europe and get us over to the UK and develop us in those territories, because it's so expensive to come over here. If we would have just stayed on independent labels, there probably wouldn't have been the chance for us to come over in the volume that we did and develop the fan bases and stuff, because we had to come over and we had to build and we had to keep coming back and things like that, especially in Germany. When we first came over, we were playing to maybe 40, 50 people, and then we'd come back again and we'd play to 100. Then we got on the Rock'em Ring and Rock'em Parks. We were playing to like 20, 30,000. Then we came back and we just kept building, and now we can come over and actually make money and do it, and 300, 400 people will show up and things like that, and we built a career. But it took a lot of time and a lot of expense to do that. So thank you, J Records. Thank you, Clive.
Scars was Soil's most successful release and gained in 2011 silver status in the UK. Is it right or wrong?
It's somewhat right. So far, if you take as a whole, it was our biggest release if you took all the worldwide sales. And it did go silver in the UK, which is a great thing. But we've had other records that have sold better in different territories. Like, for instance, in some of Europe, the True Self record sold better than Scars in some ways.
Really?
And, yeah, it's just weird, But if you take everything worldwide, Scars still remains our biggest record.
You wrote 28 songs for Scars, and which were narrowed to 20 for the pre-production. Is it right or wrong?
I'd have to say, yeah, that's right. That's going back a long time, and we had written so many songs and cataloged them before we got the Scars record deal. And then once we did, the record label had us write more and more, and we just did a lot of demos and then picked the 13 out of there.
What do you do normally if you got some B-sides or left songs? Is it like you skip them and put it into the fresh, or is it something maybe for the next record you will warm things up?
Kind of a little bit of everything. Like, some B-sides have ended up on the Japanese version. Some have gone out on reissues of songs that we didn't use. Other songs we've reworked them and used them on other records, and it's just kind of a whole combination. Some just never really did anything for us and are gone and forgotten about and stuff like that. But we try to use the material in one way or another somehow down the line.
Yeah. Okay. Because of poor sales, Soil was dropped off J Records after the release of Redefine, right or wrong?
That's wrong, actually. We were actually squeezed out because Sony Music merged with BMG, and the Sony BMG merger shut down J Records and made it all into RCA. And what they did is they took all like the biggest top selling bands and they kept them, and then the ones that were underneath a certain threshold they got rid of. So it's maybe a little bit right and a little bit wrong, but we were selling a lot of records back then and doing really well. We just kind of didn't meet the criteria when J Records got absorbed into RCA, and they wanted to keep more, artists like Luther Vandross and Alicia Keys rather than Soil, and I think there was a band Silvertide at the time or something. We all kind of got the axe. All the heavy bands got let go. Yeah.
Okay. You're running also a label, the Pavement Records. From your point of view and from your experience, what are you doing differently or better than J Records or other record companies, for example?
Yeah, oddly enough, my label Pavement I run with my partner Mark Nawara, and he and I are both from Chicago, and we decided to resurrect Pavement. It was a label back in the 90s that developed bands like Crowbar and Malevolent Creation and stuff like that, and was put on hiatus, but we resurrected, and oddly enough we're distributed through Sony again. But the thing is Mark is an expert at running record labels and distribution and marketing and things like that, and I had have that background, but I also have the artist background, and what we really want to do is make a really artist friendly place. Like when I have bands like our band like Head PE is signed to us, and I understand life on the road and how hard it is, and how you're going from place to place, and sometimes you just can't get things done and drive from here to there and do this and that. So we make it a very artist-friendly place to be, along with all the powerhouse things such as distribution and promotion, and that combination has really made it a great place for the artists and for ourselves.
I saw you also signed Flaw. The band is, 15 years back they got a big hit and were known. So why did you decide to sign them? Do you know?
Yeah, we actually toured on Ozfest 2002 together in the United States, and they came out around the same time we did, and they're always nice guys, and I always liked their music. And when their booking agent had approached me about possibly signing them, I heard some of the new material and I was blown away, and I was like, yeah, let's pick them up. And their record came out a couple months ago. It's doing fantastic. It's from start to finish, I think that's just one of those records that's just great from song 1 to song 12, and their album's selling really well in America. It's starting to sell really well here. We need to get them over here to tour and stuff, but it's going great. I really love that band. That album's a great record.
Kids are thinking today, if a band is releasing CDs, is going to tour, is releasing videos on YouTube, they are big rock stars, they're doing a lot of money. And for example, Shino Moreno from the Deftones said he has to tour 3 months in a row each night to pay his bills for a year. So I want to ask, what is the best way to support Soil in 2016, that you can keep your band alive and to bring food on the table?
We all have other jobs. I have Pavement Music, the record label. Ryan is doing this really cool thing with hydroponics, where you grow plants with aquatic life underneath. A friend of his got into that, and they've been doing that together, and he's been working on that. Mitch does extra things when he's at home, like assembling airplane parts, and Adam has his own office furniture installation business where he installs office furniture. So what we do is we tour with Soil, and we have jobs to where we can leave and do our things. And I still do the record label stuff while I'm out here on the road. I'll be working Pavement all day long, take a break, do the Soil show, then go out and meet the fans, and then go back and do more Pavement work. And everybody has it to where we can, when we're home, we can do that, and it still allows us to keep the band going because, it's just so hard nowadays because there's so many bands, and the economy just across the world is shrunk.
Definitely.
So, and with things that are like Spotify and streaming and downloading and things, I kind of gave up being against them, like saying that they're evil and this and that, because it's so convenient and such an easy way to listen to music. I mean, you turn on Spotify, you don't have to have a CD. It's better for the environment. There's no plastic. There's no cutting of trees.
No trash.
If you buy it from iTunes, it takes up space on your iPhone and things like that. If you have a Spotify subscription or a Pandora subscription, it's like having a millions of songs on a jukebox that don't take up space. I understand it, and there's it's worthless to fight it and say it's evil and try to take it down because it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So what do you do as an artist? Because you don't make any money off of it. You make a fraction of a cent or a fraction of a euro cent per stream. So what do? You go to touring and merchandise. Well, so many bands are touring and there's only so much merchandise. Kids can't go to every show and buy everything. So the music business is changed. It's gotten smaller.
Well.
It hasn't changed in the fact that you still have to write good music, that you still have to play great live shows, that you still have to, do all the things that you always did in the past. You still have to do those things. It's just, it's smaller.
No.
So in order for bigger bands and bands that came out before, like, us and like your Deftones and things, for them to live the lifestyles that they become accustomed to, they either have to tour consistently or work harder, or they have to do various things, And that's one thing we've learned is to go into different avenues and survive, because we still love doing Soil and we still love our fans. Our fans still love and come see us play, so we want to keep doing it.
Yeah, definitely. When Ryan left, AJ came in as a new singer and you released True Self and 26. Almost 2 months before the release, the record was available on the internet. Is it right or wrong?
That's right. I believe it was a site called BitTorrent or Turin or something that leaked the record. And it was actually the fault of our publicist at DRT Records that we were on at the time. She gave promo copies out when she wasn't supposed to, and somebody leaked it on there. But I don't think it really hurt it all that much. I mean, back then CDs were still the prominent thing, and I think everybody that wanted to buy it bought it. And that record, for all intents and purposes, was a successful record for us. Yeah. Especially over here in Europe. It did really, really well because we went immediately and started touring Europe, and we did Stained and headlining tours, and we did the Rock 'em Ring, Rock 'em Parks, the download festivals. We toured a lot in Europe. In Europe on that record, and it was a successful record for us. So I don't think it really hurt it that much.
I like that record very, very, very much. It's a great record.
Oh, thank you.
And you did a feature with Wayne Static. Can you tell us how the collaboration came together with Wayne?
Yeah, we recorded that entire record in Los Angeles, California, and we spent almost 3 months out in Los Angeles, demoing it and recording it. We wanted just to get away from Chicago because we had written everything in Chicago, and with a new singer in the band, kind of a refresh of the band, we just wanted to get away from the old formula and try something new. And Wayne Static lived out there, and Burton Seabell from Fear Factory was out there too. We had him sing on a track. We had Wayne come in and sing on a track, and the radio version of the song "Give It Up" actually was the version with Wayne Static singing on it, and that was what was released. And oddly enough, we're doing that song tonight with Ryan singing on it, and it's awesome.
Cool,
and
man.
We're also doing another song called "The Lesser Man," which was on
Lesser
Picture
Man.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And Ryan's singing both of those tracks, even though he wasn't on those songs. But Ryan's voice sounds amazing on those songs. It's really a treat for the fans.
Yeah.
It's a treat for me and Adam because we've been with the band during those records to see Ryan doing that. It's fun. Yeah. It's a good one.
Cool. I will check it out later, definitely.
Yes,
I will see.
absolutely.
And my last question is, Soil will be in studio next year to release a new album. Is it right? Or?
Yeah, it's definitely right. It's been 3 years since we released the last record, Whole. Toured a lot on it, and the fan reaction to that record's been fantastic so far. It kind of got us back to our Scars Redefine roots of the band, and naturally with Ryan singing back on it, it was a coming of circles of sorts. And we've been teetering with some new riffs and some new materials. So next year we'll go back in the studio and get some tracks recorded, and we've got some ideas that we're working with. I don't want to give anything away right now, but we're going to do something kind of special this time around. It'll be neat. We're always a band that tries to do something a little special and different each time we do something. So 2017 will be that time.
Cool, man. Thank you. You answered all my questions. And if you got any last words you want to share with your fans, you can do it now.
Yeah, I just want to say, I've been with this band since day one, and January of 2017 will be 20 years that Soil's been together. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying with us and allowing us this opportunity to continue to tour and make records and play for you. And we always play for ourselves because we're musicians at heart, but we wouldn't be able to do this without all of you watching and all of you listening. So thank you for allowing us 20 years of a great career, and here's to many more to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Metal-Heads TV.